Play along Jeopardy's Tournament of Champions tonight at 7.
This was little Sharon Kay. Oh, an adorable child with blonde hair and dimples. But by the age of 7, she did feel something was terribly wrong. So when she was 27, Sharon Kay became Nick. Doris worked very hard on her looks. She was conscious of makeup, hair, even had cosmetic surgery, but she did not like her body. She didn't want breasts. She didn't want female parts. She wanted male parts. At 36, Doris became Steve. And Janet just knew somehow instinctively God made an awful mistake. She thought she should have been born male, not female. And she too had a sex operation, and Janet became John. John was born a girl. Now, you said you realized almost from the beginning that you should have been a boy.
That's true. At the earliest recollection, I just always thought I was a boy. And when my parents and everybody kept telling me I was a little girl, I just kept telling them that God had made a mistake and someday it would be corrected.
Were they outraged by that, John?
Oh, yes. My parents, when I was very young, kept telling me that, you know, I shouldn't say things like that because someday they might just lock me up and put me away somewhere, and then I'd never see my family again. And, you know, at a young age...
That's very hard.
That's very hard to take.
Scary, yeah.
So I learned at a very young age that I just had to keep my feelings and my thoughts to myself about how I felt. And I kind of became a loner. And I just tried living the best I could with just existing. I didn't never really live as Janet. It wasn't until I had my sex change that I can look back now at who I was and admit that I ever was a female before.
Well, but I showed a picture. Now, this is a picture of you, right?
Right.
Okay. Let me hold this up. Tell our director we're going to take a picture of this. This is you. What do you think when you see Janet?
Well, now I can look at it and I can look back and say she wasn't a terrible person and as ugly as I thought she was. But at the time I was in that place, I thought I was so ugly and so gross that nobody would ever be able to love me or relate to me. I didn't think I'd have any friends. I just was obsessed with the fact that I was in this wrong body, and I just couldn't relate to it.
Did you hate her?
And I did. I hated her I had so much anger and hate in me.
For her?
For her. For her being there. It was like she didn't belong there. You know, this body was just a mistake.
Did God make a mistake? I mean, were you at all religious? Did you believe God had made a mistake?
When I was young, that's what I used to think. I was born and raised a Catholic and went to catechism. I was very active in church. And naturally, at a young age, you're always taught that, you know, God created everything. So naturally, at about 5, when I can remember, I thought that God had made a mistake. So I would tell people this, and I thought that that's what really happened. But I thought I'd just be able to go to bed one day and I'd wake up and be able to be John, who I was.
You know, one of the things that's hard, and you have to help me understand this, is the difference between feeling that way and feeling gay. As you were getting older, did you say, I'm a homosexual, I'm gay?
No, I never did. Even as I really did get older and got involved with the woman who is now my wife, a lot of people thought we were gay and would put that label on us, but it was very difficult for me to accept that.
So you never said, I am gay?
No. And the main reason I didn't, Sally, was because in order for me to be gay, I had to admit that I liked my female body and that I would want another female to enjoy that body also, and I could not relate to that. So I would make love to my wife, but my body was totally off limits until after I had my sex change, and now I can enjoy that.
You would make love to her. You were still a woman.
Well, I still had that female body, but
okay, you had the female body.
Right. Yeah.
And you would make love to her, but you would not want her to touch you.
Right.
Now, another thing I think that's interesting is you had very female parts. In other words, you had a very large female chest, correct?
I was gross.
But you see, I don't think that's gross.
I didn't have breasts, I had udders.
Oh, come on. I don't think that that's gross.
I was like 44 Fs at one time. My body got so huge, I weighed 260 pounds. I was like trying to destroy myself because I couldn't relate to it. I just thought one roll would just roll into the next. And
you mean, instead of because you don't like breasts. You make a roll of fat and a row of fat,
Yeah,
and you eat yourself
right.
into that.
So one would just relate to the, one would just roll into the next. And that way I figured nobody would be able to tell, If I was slim and trim and had these big breasts, then I figured other people would be attracted to me, and then I would have to defend myself. Where if I got grossed out, that nobody would want to have anything to do with me. And then I wouldn't have to deal with it.
How old were you when you had your first sexual experience?
I was in my mid-20s.
That's late.
Late. But see, I totally...
Were these with lesbians?
No, it was with a straight woman who had been involved with men. Actually, she was trying to upset her boyfriend. And, but she totally understood how I felt. And it was like, she understood me better than I did at that time. At that time, I still wasn't able to deal with how I felt. I didn't want anybody to know how I felt sexually, so I kept all my feelings to myself. But she started asking me questions and pumping me, and just got me to be real comfortable with myself and let me know it was all right for me to feel the way I did and to be who I was, and that I could make love to her, and that she didn't have to reciprocate, and that it was all right for me to do that, so. When
I look at you, it would never occur to me that you had been a woman. Never are you happier now?
Yes, totally.
How long have you been a man?
Let's see, 8 years.
And you're completely comfortable in that?
Yeah. Now, my biggest thing, and my in-laws are always saying that, because they knew me before, my wife and I have been together for like 19 years, and we were together like...
I got to get into that.
Yeah.
I can't just let you just dump that. I got to get into... Two women are living together, and one of the women becomes a man, and the in-laws say, the woman my daughter used to live with is now my daughter's husband. And I mean, that is complicated. If you will allow me a little more time, we will talk about it. We're also going to meet Nick, who, by the way, was a nun, and Steve, who was married to a man. Their stories when we return. Yes, it's confusing.
Yeah, you're home early, huh?
Ben can be so stupid.
Yeah, well, say, how about some Campbell's home cooking soup?
Grandpa, chicken soup can't fix everything.
No, you gotta have some tomatoes and celery and carrots, too. You know, honey, your grandmother never, ever called me stupid. No, she always called me pinhead.
Oh, Grandpa.
I knew some soup would make you feel better.
Home cooking soups from Campbell. They got their name because of their taste.
Kennedy in the White House was one thing. Kennedy in Hollywood was quite another. On the next Entertainment Tonight, learn more about JFK's private moments with the stars. His romance with Marilyn Monroe was more than gossip, and his reputation as a Hollywood playboy is growing.
Marilyn Monroe bounced out of the bathroom behind him, wrapped up in a towel, and it was completely obvious what was going on.
JFK's Hollywood Camelot, the inside story, on the next Entertainment Tonight.
Tonight at 7:30, right after Jeopardy, here on Channel 7.
Ladies and gentlemen, here comes Charlie Kaufman and the Kaufman Carpet All-Star Band.
Wow, Charlie, they put out the red carpet. But they bought it from me at half price.
You too can get select carpets at half price during Kaufman's special Veterans Day sale. And the low prices include padding and installation. Plus, any carpet you buy during the sale can be yours with 1 full year to pay interest-free.
So for fantastic values, march to your nearest Kaufman before the prices go up and the parade passes you by.
Kaufman, the carpet experts.
We've got it all.
Who says Swanson makes the best chicken broth? Author Jennifer Harvey Lang asked a group of experts to take a blind taste test.
This one, definitely.
They rated Swanson chicken broth best. Use it as a soup starter.
A full, rich taste.
For light stews and stir fries.
Wonderful flavor.
For holiday gravy and stuffing.
Clearly the best.
No wonder Swanson is America's #1 ready-to-serve chicken broth and the expert's choice.
Swanson chicken broth makes the best of it.
We are talking with men who were at one time women. You know, I'm a little embarrassed. I'm not quite sure I know how to phrase what it is that we are talking about. But you said that you are married and have been with somebody for a long time,
19 years.
19 years. What does that feel like, having lived with a woman and then living what other people would say is a male-female relationship? I mean, do you keep it straight in your head? I mean, you have to, obviously.
It was always straight in my head. It was just other people I had to straighten out. To me, I was always John, and my wife was always my wife, even though legally we couldn't get married until after I've had the sex change.
How did she handle it, John?
At first, it was very difficult. When I first met my wife and I told her how I felt and what I wanted to do, she just couldn't deal with it at all. But she really liked me as a person. So we were like really good friends before we actually really became lovers and husband and wife.
So one of the things that happens is you can, if you're friends enough, you can overcome a lot of things.
I think it takes a lot because she's been through a lot. And I mean, just going through all of this with me has been a large experience
I would think.
for her too.
Steve, I was just saying to John, or I did before, that if I met him anywhere, there's no way I would think he was a woman. Believe me.
I know.
Nobody ever would think that you had been a woman, ever. It's probably the last thing that occurs to them, correct?
That's true, absolutely. Makes it nice.
It's better to be that way.
Absolutely.
All right, as a little girl, did you think also that you were a little boy? Did you fantasize about that?
Well, as a little girl, I was educated that I was a little girl, so I felt different, but I fantasized being a boy all the time.
It was always not just being a, what do they call a tomboy?
No, it was more than that. It was beyond that. I fantasized being a boy. I fantasized having a penis, and played the boys' games. It was athlete, detective, spying on buildings, and Tarzan, and those were back in my day, and things like that.
Believe me, my day.
Your day too. There was a Buck Rogers, but I don't know if we tuned into him.
But did men find you attractive?
Men found me attractive. It's interesting. The kind of men that were attracted to me tended to be more feminine when I was a woman. So you have to follow this now. And the more masculine males were not attracted to me. And I sometimes think that we tune into people's gender. See, that's what our issue is all about, than so much what people see. It's kind of like between the lines. So I always said that if I ever met a man more masculine than I would marry.
You had your nose fixed to be more attractive.
I did, yes.
You were more attractive then to men.
Yes.
Now, you, from the waist up, I hate to discuss people's body parts because I was taught that this was maximum rude, but look at your development of your upper body, your arms, your chest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, isn't that just tremendously masculine?
Yes, I happened to have a body before also that was very much like a male body. I've always been narrower hip, broader shouldered, very hairy.